What's up guys, it's Marani here and welcome to a new video on my channel. Today with a tutorial how to level in 2022. Maybe some of you already know that XLII is a good way to get leeched. If you have a tank Panda and a good AoE close combat damage dealer like a strength Masquerader or a chance Sacrier like I use, you have nearly everything you need. What you also need, some tips and tricks and a possible strategy I show you in this video.
I can't move on till I let go. I feel so lost, never at home. Need to be strong, every breath though, 'cause I can't move on till I let go.
Before you start leeching, you have to check if the XLII dungeon is even worth it. And as you maybe know, every map has a multiplier on it that says if there is a penalty in XP or loot, or is there a bonus. So for example here we have a negative 13% penalty on the total experience and loot. So here it is not even worth it to farm because you have a penalty. To look that up, how the bonus is in the XLI area, you have to go to the Xelorium, click on this plus here, and then go to the Xelorium Dimension. And this map will show you the areas that are in the Xelorium Dimension. And you have the XLII Dungeon here on the second floor. It's on level 170 dungeon. And for the bonus, you have to click on this little chest here. And then you see the XLII Dungeon has a negative 2% penalty. At this point, I wouldn't recommend it because you have obviously a penalty on XP. And the key costs around 35 KK. So it's not even worth it. But on the 13th of March there was an event, an Almanacs event, which gave us 100% XP bonus on Dungeon Keepers. So that means you have basically double XP. When you have an event like free keys, it was in the last year I think, or a double XP weekend or so, then it's worth it to run this dungeon. And because of this event, I started a leeching run to level up my new achievement team. So I gathered all the stuff together and started that run. In the following part of this video, I want to show you some preparation you have to do before dungeon leeching. It will cover all the things what I would recommend taking with you if you are leeching your characters or other players. And that's just a personal recommendation. So I want to start with the gear of my Panda. It is a full tank set with no exos, so no AP exos, no MP exos or range exos, just some vitality transcendence runes and some resistance over mages, but not the expensive stuff. So I want to start off with the Emeric's rolling pin, 6 lock transcendence rune and a hunting weapon on the Paul ring with an 3 neutral res, barbaric wedding ring with 2% air, a hierophant necklace with 2% earth. Let me undress this that you can see it a little bit better. A dragon helmet, just a basic one, nothing special, not perfect maged, but it's okay for now. Americ's cape, which gave us a little nice set bonus, 20 pushback resistance, 10 critical resistances, 100 vitality and 15 luck. The Beltine with an 8 luck transcendence rune, and the Pasogastrix. As a pet I used the Snowfox. It isn't even maxed out, it's just at level 78, but it's okay. And as a shield I used the Enery's shield with an 100 vitality transcendence rune. When we come to the slots for the Dofuses and the trophies. The most important thing is the Emerald Dofus for every tank panda. As a AP trophy, you can also use the Shaker. It's a little middle. It's not just a little bit. It's way cheaper than the Ochre. So it's okay for you because this set has only 2 pieces. And then I have 3 lock trophies, the Obstructure, Major Obstructure and the Major Stickler. And the last slot is up to your preference. I use the Major Miracle Man. You could also use the Dokoko or a Silver Dofus if you want to. I use the Miracle Man because there's a challenge where you don't have to get heals during your turn, and that's just an extra 30% XP, so I did that. When we look at the stats, we have in total 5,514 health and some luck, 223. It's not the best lock set, but as I said, it's a pretty cheap one because no exos and stuff like that. And when we look at the resistances, 42 neutral res, 48 earth, 39 fire, 41 water and 51 air. Yeah, this 51, it's not optimal because it will cut down to 50, but it's okay for now. So that was my Panda set. When we look at the spells, we only use this spells in the fight, but I used only this spells in the fight, and basically just the Pandiurius. I don't know how to pronounce this, to be honest. That spell that gives MP, Fermentation for shields, Vertigo, or you could also use Waterfall. I use Waterfall more often because you have a bigger range than Vertigo, and that helps you to move over the map. Eviction to switch the positions to bring the monsters on the other side of you. Pandichu to attract monsters to yourself. Boozer to boost MP and get some nice map control. Karasham to throw and carry, and vulnerability. You could also use Prohibition. It is a spell that makes you invulnerable in close combat to close combat damage. If you're struggling a little bit with the close combat damage, you can use this. But if you're okay with that, you can use vulnerability to make your fights even faster. On my Sacrier, I use a full chance crit set with pretty low HP, but that doesn't matter. 11 AP base and 5 MP. The most important thing is that you have 12 AP to max out your damage output, and I get to 12 AP because of the Ochre. You could also use an Abyssal because you get this 1 AP in close combat, or just use a whole different set where you have 12 AP straight from the beginning. I just want to go over this pretty fast. So at the start, as a weapon, the Kingslayer Scepter, a Rhine-Needle Ring with 1 AP, Deep Sea Bracelet with 1 MP, Spookuch, Amulet, Kid Bonnet, Queen of Faith Cape, Snarina Len Cloth, I don't know how to pronounce it as well, Queen of Fate Boots, Snellmat, the Major Luxter, Major Teaser, as I said, Ochre Dofus, Crimson Dofus and Turquoise. And because I don't have any other trophies, I used it covered, but you could also use another power trophy or water damage trophy, it's up to you. In this set I have 1225 chance, 64 critical hits and 120 critical damage, so it's pretty important to max out your damage output. and that's why I chose the critical damage set and the water element. So on the water damage we have 113 and power we have 120. And when we look at the spells, we only use these spells, the 3 damage spells, which only cost 3 AP each, and because of the 12 AP you can cast them in total 4 times. It's the combination is up to you and up to the situation. We have aversion to push the enemies by 1 cell, attraction to attract them obviously. Berserker, it is a very important spell because you get this 13 spell damage to max out your damage output, and mutilation to increase your power. So that's it for the sets for now, but I also want to show you some stuff you have to take with when you start leeching the XLII Dungeon. When you start leeching your own characters, you obviously need some wisdom sets, and I used 2 wisdom sets for my team, one for level 60 and one for at least 146. There are some pieces you can wear at lower level, but the rings are the highest items. They are at level 146. To have a good time at the Xelorium area and leeching the XLII dungeon, you have to take some additional items with you. Most important thing is the watch running fast and the watch running slow. That 2 items helps you to navigate to the Xelorium dungeon. I will show this later in the video where I show you how to get to the dungeon, but at this point where you start your preparations, you have to use these watches for each character you want to leech. So second, you need some HP food, like these sausages here, because when you fail a dungeon you lose HP and you don't want to waste so much time obviously and get your health back up pretty fast. So think about that and take the HP food with you, and also you need some energy food. I already ran out of this energy food, but I think it was around 500 energy points. It's up pretty fast. Yeah, it's restores 450 energy points. You could also use anything else you want, but keep in mind to take some energy point food with you. You also have to take some recall potions with you, because in the Xelorium area you can't use your haven back to get to a portal and escape from this area. And obviously you need the XLII. Where are they? I'm at the consumables. Obviously it's at the resources. So now we have it. You need the XLII dungeon key. So now the average price is 33. Previously I said it's 35 KK, but it depends on the market prices. And if you want to do some runs, you have to take many keys with you, or buy them from the merchant shops in front of the dungeon, but the keys will be a little bit more expensive in front of the dungeon. To do the leeching run much more effective, you have to use some idols, and I used the idols which gave you a total score of 351. It's the Major Petunia, the Great Petunia, Great Dynamo, Mucha, Biner, and Great Cube, I don't know. And these are around 2, 4, 6, 4, 7, 6, 8, 8, 4. Yeah, I would say around 10 MK. But it is worth it because you get, as you see, 505% XP bonus and 307 loot bonus. So keep that in mind to take them with you. At the last step of the preparation part, I want to introduce you to the Defensive website. It's a website where you can look up the skills of every monster in the game, and also can look up which monsters are in a particular dungeon. So we look up the XLII Metronomicon, hit enter and then hit go, and this will show you all the monsters within this dungeon, and it is divided into 5 levels. So that means the boss will have 8,800 HP when you are in a group of 4, 9,700 in a group of 5, and so on. So it's pretty cool for that. And you also can look how the map is actually looking in the dungeon, and you can place them in the map and see how big is the range from each spell. So the range of the spell is up to 10 range, and this summons a Aurora, which is like the spell from the Xelorium class. I don't know if how it's called, but it looks like the same. And this spawns a clock which moves every turn of a player. When your first character starts his turn, it will move. When your second character starts, it will move, and so on. And this will move in a clockwise direction. At this area here, it always starts here, to say this at the beginning. In this area here, your damage will be low, and when the clock gets over here, your damage will be better, and here you make the most damage when the clock is in this position. So the clock just lives as long as the XLII is on the map. So pay attention to that. When he is dead, you just do the normal damage. The XLII has also a spell that is only castable in one range. Reduces 1 effect duration and makes air damage. The demonic breath applies the Pacific state and deals water damage. And malfunction is a spell where the XLII can switch positions with a monster in his team. Second monster in this dungeon, that's the XLII. And you also have here the different levels, and spells are a passive spell. You don't have to look for that at this monster, just look at the 2 spells. It is an 5 to 10 range, and it's triggered when you start your turn. So basically when you end your turn next to this monster, you don't get any damage. Also with this spell, Hithiker, it's a spell which can be casted 5 to 10 range, and you lose 25 HP for every AP you use. So make sure you stay in close combat and lock them so you don't get any damage. Next one, the XLII. He has good water resistances and negative neutral resistances, and his passive is very important. So basically, it's for all monsters, it's the same, but where is it? Yeah, here it is. You get attracted by one cell if you hit him not in close combat. What I mean by that, when he's at this cell and you and your Panda are on this cell, and you try to hit him, your Sacrier gets attracted on this cell, and at this point you lose that fight because you get so much damage, and because of the idols combination, it's not possible to survive. So pay attention to that. He has a spell that does 100 air and water damage, and also another damage dealing spell. Maybe the monster where you have to put the most attention to it, it is the third tree. It has negative water earth resistance and 11 water resistance. The passive spell you don't have to look for, it's not so important, but you have to look for this spell Brute Force, because it does 180 to 225 neutral damage and 33% of the attacker's missing HP. So when the HP is low, this monster will do a lot of damage just in a short range, but because of your idols, the great dynamo, this monster will have so many MP, so it gets to you. And just to make sure, finishing this monster off as fast as you can, it would be the best if you finish it in one turn, so to avoid this damage. So the most important monster you have to look for, not on the damage part, much more on the healing aspect, it's the XLII, and he is always running away from you, so he doesn't stay in close combat like the 13 or the 13. Also the XLII also runs away, and you have to catch that monster, but you will see this in the video. So when you start, for example here, make sure a monster is here, here and here, and the 22 can only go on this cell. So you lock him, and then you can hit him easily. And his passive is very important, because you get 10% heals of your max HP when you hit him in close combat. So it's a good way to heal up again, but this you will also see in the video. And the last one, the 13. He is weak to water resistances, so you can finish him off pretty fast. And the most important thing you have to look for is his second spell, Mist Rebound, and this puts you in an unhealable state. So if you want to heal up with that 22, make sure you don't have this passive on you. So if you hit 22 in the close combat, you don't get the heals, obviously. So make sure you pay attention to that. As I said before, I want to show you how to get to the dungeon, and first thing is you have to search the portal to the Xelorium Dimension. If you want to know more about this, I can make another video about the portal hunt and stuff like that, but for now I hope you know how to search for them. You can use that and you get straight in the Xelorium dimension. And here we have two mechanics to move over the maps, and I want to show you this in action because I think it's a little bit complicated to explain this in theory. So first thing, the maps don't end when they look like they end on the mini map. So you can see here, it looks like the map is ending here because you can't go down. The territory is black and there's no territory on the map one down below. But in the Xelorium dimension you can go one down and you come back in at the opposite side. So you can do this with down to up and left to right, also in the other direction. That's the first mechanic. And the second mechanic has to second mechanic, you need the clocks, and I want to show you this on the way to the dungeon. You came from the portal here and you're currently at the Voyager's outpost, so you have to go right again, and one more time right, and then you are on the map where we use the first clock. And how this works, you have the watch running fast, which brings us to the next floor, next higher floor, and watch running slow, which brings you one floor down. So we are at the lowest floor, so we can't use this this clock. Here it is not possible, and we can only use the watch running fast. So we use that, and we get one floor higher. The only thing which is important, there has to be a free cell. If there is no free cell, you can't use the clock, and you also get an error message. So from here you go right and one up, and try it again. And then you see there is a little gap between this cells here. You can't get over to the dungeon. So at this point you use the watch running slow, which brings you to the floor below. And as you can see, you can walk over here and you can use the watch running fast, and you are on the other side of this map here. And that's the way to the XLII Dungeon. You also have the way to Fractal Dungeon, and also the way to Vortex Dungeon. So you can see I use the watch running fast, but there's no free cell, so move a little bit, and also not free. Here is free. So now you're at the Vortex Dungeon, but for now we want to go in the XLII Metronomic one. So now we are in the XLII Dungeon. We already got in with all our characters, and I want to show you this on the recording I made. Hope that's okay for you, so I can explain a little bit more things, and I'm not so in a rush. As you can see, the XLII is starting on the other side, so we place our both characters on this side. When he's starting on this side, we place our characters on the other side, and we use the cell to get to it. So because he is starting here, we go here and click play. So just a second, then the fight is starting. I selected the creature mode on all the Leeching characters because they will die and it's not so laggy. And as you can see, the XLII spawned this clock here, and he will run towards our characters and wants to hit them. So he just finished off one, and as you can see, the turn of the Panda starts and the clock goes one spot further. And what we do boozer, boost MP, boozer again, and pick up our Sacrier and finish next to the 13 monster. As I said before, when you start here and the boss is on this side, you end your turn next to this monster, and when the XLII is starting here, you end your turn here. This is the best position for the start. So at the turn of the Sacrier, we cast Mutilation and Berserker, start hitting the 13. Nothing special here. Now it's going on. on. So Becker dies. The clock went so further. Now it's the Panda's turn. Clock goes on. Because of the achievement, I finished next to the Kra, so I get this achievement. And the finish, Kra also died, and the clock went on. So on the Panda's turn, I put the Sacrier down, Boozer, and put on Fermentation to get some shields, and pick up the Sacrier again. And start hitting with the spells. So that 13 is dead, Saint is nearly dead, and the fight goes on. As I said before, the 22 just hits you when he can, and then runs away. The 13 hits always from range when he can. He can also hit through walls, and the XLI comes close. Put the Sacrier down, vulner the XLI to make more damage, and pick up the Sacrier again. So at this point, it's going very well for us. And as you can see, you hit pretty high numbers because the clock is in this particular area, and gives you a nice damage boost. So again, put the Sacrier down, Boozer, Fermentation, Boozer again, and pick the Sacrier up. And skipped. Finish the XLII. And as you can see, I finished off the XLII, and the clock disappears. So at this point, your damage gets to normal damage again. It is not reduced at this area when the clock is in this area, and it is not increased when the clock is in this area. So 4th turn, we finished off XLII, just 3 monsters left, and it's going pretty well for us. So why I didn't finish off the 13, I had 6 AP left. I thought the 22 was here. He comes close to me on this point, so I used this 13 to block this line, but he had enough AP to come around this obstacle and hit me from there. So that's just the reason why I didn't finish it off. So as you can see, our HP are pretty low. I used Vertigo, throughout the 22 here, and picked up my Sacrier to lock the 22 and get some nice additional shields. And now you can see it. What I said before, that 13 is still alive, and you can see the Panda is in an unhealable state. Also, when you hit the 22, all enemies in an area get also heals, but first the damage line goes away and then the heals, so it wouldn't be a problem at this point. But I decided to just first finish off the 13, and then as you can see, I made damage, and the Panda got around 500 heals. So it is the 5th turn, just 2 monsters left, but it's okay for now. Our health is a little bit low, but it's okay for at that point, and 6 new monsters come in. And when they appear, you have these little green icons over the head, and this is a symbol that they are invulnerable. So they are invulnerable as long as they had their first turn. So it's not even worth it to hit them, but you can hit the other one. I used the spell to attract the 13 and finish off the other one, and used a version to lock the other 13. So nothing special here. I changed to the fight mode that you can see the damage better. Sorry for changing it so late, but yeah, I forgot it. Just hit them, try to finish off the 13 as fast as you can, but make sure finish them off in one turn. I decided to go on the creature mode to see a little bit better. And I also would recommend you this when you do more runs. So you just go over the monsters, see the name, and know, oh, okay, now I know what to do, and this accelerates your dungeon rush even more. It's always the same. I just want to wait until the next wave. So I will accelerate the video until we get to the next wave. So now we are lucky. The two Twentoons are in a good position. So sometimes they are not in this position, sometimes they are here, and you are not so lucky, but this was good for us. So now I show you a nice technique to heal up pretty fast. So as you can see, they are invulnerable, but at this point you also can heal your characters. So I put him next to us. We got heals just from one Twentoon, as you can see here, and at the next hit we get double because two of them are in the close combat, so we get around 800 and another 600, and we are full health. So that's the most important part maybe in this dungeon. Just focus on finishing them off pretty fast, so you don't have too much monsters on the map and get too much damage. And keep in mind that you can use that Twentoon to heal up again. And so I keep my voice quiet and accelerate the video so you can see how I did that.
Never break, always fight, never quit, do it right, play the game, win it life, have no shame, there's no time, feel the pain, live the grind, I could change, in my mind, pick a lane, commit and climb, the only way to win it life, I never miss, that's fact, taking big swings, bitch, hand me the bat, put me in the ring, you'll go out in a bag, cause I sing what I mean, and I bring it to the mad light, ain't got time to kill, I got time to feel, I took the red pill, I know life's short, so I wanna live real, but how's it supposed to feel? How's it supposed to feel? How's it supposed to feel? They wanna say my name, but they holding back. They wanna say they hate, but they know it's cap. I ain't play no games, I just do that's fact. And I don't feel no shame, it's a mood you lack. I go crazy, nah bitch I ain't lazy. Track after track, I work on the shit daily. Pass me the jack, right as fuel, got me hazy. About to unpack all these things I've been chasing. I've got visions in my head, like memories after death. To be a legend instead of something you can forget. I'm living up every breath.
So that's it. 16 minutes, 25 turns. You could do it in a much shorter time. As you can see, all my characters have no XP multipliers, and they were all level 1, so they don't get much XP. Maybe it's better to start at level 60 so you get much more XP, because the level cap is better and stuff like that. Hope you got a feeling how this dungeon works, and now I want to show you some more screens from the other fights. Here you see the ending screen of the first fight again. Some of you maybe noticed that I failed this challenge, what I mentioned before, so obviously I didn't use a Dokoko at this moment. I changed it, I think, on the third run. Here in the top left corner you can see the number of runs, so I don't have to remember and always say them again. As I said, shitty XP. Second run, also shitty XP. At this level it's getting a little bit better. I already equipped some whiz pieces, and as you can see the Panda was getting good XP, and we already did the challenge I mentioned, and we on the fourth run we hit level 60, and from now on the XP get better and better, and our runs are around 10 minutes and the XP increase. So on the 8th run we are already level 100. So the first 100, I think. Yeah, first 100 on the 13th run at level 184. After that fight we can equip the whole second whiz set, so pretty good. And we continue at the 15th fight. I decided to add a 7th character to get a better level cap, because when you add all these levels together, 200 and 4 times 160, you end up at 1020. So to get a better level cap over the next runs, I added another one and set his guild XP to 90%, so to hold this level cap even more. And as you can see, very good XP double challenges. Sadly I made so bad screen from that. You can see the challenges. Yeah, pretty good XP, I think, but only in the case that you have a double XP weekend. Look at this, 200 million XP with that shitty XLI map bonus. Imagine when you have a bonus around 50% or something like that, or even 90, are crazy XP, and just in 10 minutes. So pretty good level method. And I did 26 runs, and my team got around 191. Also the 7th character got to level 116. And yeah, I hope that you are a little bit hooked and maybe start your own XLI leveling run. In the end of this video I want to show you a small calculation for how much karmas you have to invest for the keys and how much time you need to do 26 runs. So we did 14 runs with 6 characters. 14 times 6 is 84. And we did 12 runs with 7 characters. It's also 84. 84 plus 84 is 168. Considering a key costs around 35 kk, you have to multiply that, and we end up at 5,880,000 karmas. In the first place, you maybe think 6 million to spend on keys for the runs is very much, but you level your characters from 0 to at least 190, I think, when you do some challenges. And if you are a little bit smarter than me and not start at level 1 and start maybe at level 60 or something like that, you can get even more levels, and imagine the multiplier is better. So I think it's a good level method. When we look at the time, we had number of runs, we had 26. When we say around about 12 minutes for a run, sometimes less, sometimes more. If you are in practice, you can do it in maybe 8 minutes. But I think with some running, going in the dungeon, going out of the dungeon, we can calculate with 50 minutes. I think it's realistic. And when we multiply that, we have 390 minutes divided through 60. It's 6.5 hours. 6.5 hours if you are very efficiently, if you run this dungeon pretty fast and get your characters from level 1 to maybe 190. So, and we are at the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked that video, smack that like button and subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, and we see you at the next time.